Warning, the following program contains references that some viewers may find distressing. Think back to when you were a child. Picture yourself just 6 or 7 years old. Try and remember the complete dependence you had on the adults in your life at that age. As an adult, think of the trust children have in you when they're so young. Imagine the impact of violating that trust in the worst possible way. Arrests and convictions related to child abuse are on the rise in the UK, across Europe, and in Gibraltar. How society deals with the rising number of convicted offenders is an ongoing issue. But an equally important question is, how does society treat the survivors? Victims of abuse are granted lifelong anonymity by the court. When you see these cases on television, when you read about them in the news, you will see the faces of the offenders, you will read their names. The identities of the complainants are understandably not revealed. They are entitled to their privacy. But in shielding those who suffered from the public eye, we also miss out on hearing their voices. Their perspective is lost to us. Many go on to suffer in silence. Some, though, have turned this suffering into strength. 2 primary witnesses who brought their attackers to justice. Both have chosen to waive their right to anonymity in order to share a powerful message. You are not alone, and there is no shame in having been victimized. That burden of shame falls entirely on abusers. In January 2025, Graham Southwell was sentenced to 39 years in prison, largely thanks to the testimony of one man. 5 witnesses testified against Southwell. Many more were involved in the investigation against him. During the trial, Master X, as he was referred to during proceedings, was contacted by the primary witness against Mario Cassano. Cassano ran a children's home in Gibraltar for decades. In 2010, he was jailed for offences that took place over a period spanning more than 40 years. He would later die in prison. But this is not the abuser's story. This is the story of 2 survivors, united through trauma, determined not to let it define them.
I felt like I was alone, like I was in a dark place. I did have a feeling that it wasn't right what I was doing, but I never had the courage or the belief that anyone would believe me at the time. And it was just emptiness to myself and emptiness towards the picture I put across to everyone. I was a fake person to everyone. I don't think anyone realized what was happening to me, or I was just an energetic boy and I used to run loads. Era malo, entre comillas. So I was just my normal self, and then every time when I used to go to bed is when all the dark thoughts came along, and remembering everything that happened. So I just gave them like a different me. So they didn't realize at all. They never had any suspicion on me being abused or.
It seems you're almost a victim of being able to keep up such a good facade. If someone had seen what was wrong, if someone had managed to see through and see what was wrong, they might have got you earlier, because, as you've said, your family was fully supportive and believing from day one.
100%.
So it's not as if anyone suspected and didn't do anything about it, it's that you managed to hide it.
Yeah, exactly.
So completely.
I did manage to hide it for years. 20-something years I managed to hide it for myself. And the breaking point was I've got a really loving girlfriend, partner, and my little sister. She's always, ¿Qué te pasa? ¿Qué te pasa? And I was in a dark place, she was really getting annoying, and I exploded and it just came out, like, this is what happened to me. And for a minute, no answering back, everything silence, and she just called me. And I explained everything that happened to me, and I messaged my family group with my brothers and said I wanted to meet them all in my mum's house at 7 because I had something major I wanted to share with them.
Is this something that you had planned to do one day? Had you hoped or planned to?
No. it was something I was planning to get buried with, if you understand what I mean. It's something that I wanted to keep for myself because I felt ashamed, embarrassed. I felt ashamed of carrying my surname. The judgments of people, the reactions. But then it was just that moment which I had a little argument with my partner, and normal arguments de la vida. And it just came out. I was really, really bad, in a really bad place, and it came out, and for me it was the best thing that ever happened to me. The best thing that ever happened to me.
What changed?
Everything changed. My points of view, my points of living, my kids, my family. I go out a lot more. I speak a lot more openly with people, and I don't hide. And I'm not fake. It's real. This is me. This is who I am. Unfortunately, this is what happened to me in my past, and I could just face it and battle the demons that I have within.
Do you feel some relief at being able to drop the mask?
Yes.
After so many years?
Definitely. It's a really big relief because I don't have to fight demons on my own now. I've got family, I've got friends, my beautiful partner, and they're all supportive of me on whatever decision I want to make, how I want to make it. They're always on top of me to see how I am, if I'm okay. So it's a massive relief taking this case forward, and just letting people of Gibraltar know who this guy is.
We know the outcome. You took him to court. You were successful. Graham
Yes,
Southwell is going to be is away for a very long time.
Yes, sir.
It's an extremely difficult process to have to relive that and to be challenged.
Yes.
Because ultimately, your abuser was accusing you of lying at this point, to add insult to injury. Talk to me about that 5-week process, because it was a long trial.
It was a really long trial, but for me, in a sense, was easy because I'm not lying. I told the truth at every single stage, so I don't need to remember everything I've said because it's all in my head. It's like a DVD. You put a DVD in and it just goes. That's how I was in there. Obviously, you get nervous because you've been called a liar, you've been called this, you've been called that, and you're just there to tell the truth, to let people know who this guy is, and to get justice. So it's hard when people are accusing you of lying and accusing you of being a liar, and because you wanted to get this out of this or that out of that. It's a hard process, but in a way, I had my late grandfather with me as well all the way, I think, and he gave me the strength to carry on. And I'm not a liar, I've just told the truth.
From the outside perspective, I've got to know you as a result of this. Why did you feel, when you had the court case, many people might have thought, that's it, we're done, we're over. You've taken an extra step, you've got in touch, and you've shown a willingness to share your story. Was this something that you thought throughout, or was this a response afterwards that you thought, you know what, I'm going to do this?
It was something that I thought throughout because I've always known once I came out with my story to my family that I wanted to help other victims in my position. I know how bad it is, and I know how dark the place could be. So, and when I met Lydia, obviously, we spoke about helping others. And I think I'm going to pursue this to help others, to help other victims, to help other families get justice. And that's my goal, to help other children not suffer the way that we've suffered for so many years. To try, and if they are a victim, unfortunately we can't do anything about it, but we're going to help them get out of it sooner than what we did, and get them the help they need.
You've spoken about how important Lydia was to this process. How vital is it to be able to speak to or hear from someone who you know understands you because they've been through the same? Because a professional will be able to help. Law enforcement can empathize. They might deal with several cases, but there's no real alternative to knowing that someone has been through the same as you.
Yes, it was a big impact because before that I never spoke with someone who has been through more or less the same as I have, and we could recall in a lot of things that happened to our lives, and it was a big day for me knowing that I'm not alone. This has happened to many other children before, and we want to try and help others get the help they need as well.
Is life easier?
A lot easier, yes, and a lot happier. A lot. I go out in the streets. I'm happy. I'm not hiding. Everyone knows who I really am now. And the only downfall about all of this is with 20 friends you had, you could count them with one hand now. So I just want to give them the thanks as well to my closest friends. They know who they are. And it's all a process in your mind, and it's all building up, building up, building up until the day that you do say something. But when that day happens, I mean, the world changes. The world changes.
The difference in the story between what Lydia went through not too long ago, talking about 17 or 18 years ago. Do you think that there's been enough change? Do you think that people are more open and understanding to breaking down these sorts of taboos?
It's still a work in progress, but there's a really big difference to back then to the treatment that I got now. For me, all these years, it's been a long time because it's been adjourned, new lawyers and this and that. So it's a really long journey, but at the end of the day, the police with me, I mean, I don't have any complaints whatsoever with them. They've been there messaging me, see how I am through the police chat, families, friends, I mean, everything. And I think it's a lot easier now to go forward than to when Lydia went forward.
Lydia first spoke out against her abuser 18 years ago. While her account shows us how much things have improved in the past couple of decades for others, it stands as a stark reminder of just how difficult it was for her and for any other victims of abuse to find justice in our very recent past.
I do have a mild memory of me being removed from my biological mother and placed in a home. I was firstly placed into Bishop Healy Home, which I need to say I was placed there until the age of 4, where I was transferred on to Edmund Rice Home. And I do have to say, which is very important for me, that I don't remember much. I remember certain faces, but I do remember the feeling of being totally loved and adored. I was a baby, so it was always like positive things. I remember people telling me I love you, things like that, which are very important for the development of a child, and mostly a child that's been abandoned in that sense. Obviously, after being transferred into Edmund Rice Home at the age of 4, I was introduced into the home by a massive beatdown. So, and from there on, it was just horrendous things. I was a very traumatized child, so all I can really reminisce is in horrific memories. Being abused, being told on a daily basis you're nothing. I have a mentally ill mother, so I was on a daily basis compared to her. You're going to end up like your mother, this and that. So I did have a sort of like identity crisis. You sort of don't know who you are.
And while all this is happening, you have to balance being a young student, being a young child, going to school. How did it feel to have to hide such a big part of your experience as a young child from everyone else?
The only thing is that we were highly trained in portraying to the public perfection. So I became the perfect child. I could not do any mistakes. Nothing could falter. I had to be perfect, on point, nothing's wrong, so anything wouldn't backlash and no one would ask. And if I had certain bruises or certain things, I was meant to say, oh, I was pushed to the swing, or I was pushed by this person, etc. So it was obviously, as Karim has mentioned, having this invisible mask all the time. And that is like a major task to have, especially as a child, to hide who you really are.
When you're a teenager, when you're a bit older and you understand, have some understanding of what's happened to you, how do you process that?
For me personally, because we were so secluded, I thought every single thing was normal. I didn't have a normal childhood as it was. I don't know what a normal family composition was as it was. So I thought that was normal, totally normal. So for me, what changed was the freedom of going to my friends' houses and comparing, analyzing others, and for example saying, oh, so he doesn't treat her this way, or look at her father actually hugs and you don't see that ill-intentioned looks or any ill intentions towards it, so why is it happening to me? And you sort of, it took time, but it sort of like taught myself that there's another world out there, that it's not normal what you're going through, and that basically creates even more hiding it, because you feel the shame even more and you feel embarrassed. And coming from me from a care home, you're tired of being labelled. I was quite bullied due to that. I mean, I had it all. I had all the factors, a mentally ill mother, I was in a home, I was dark-skinned. So I was bullied about every single thing. So realizing the realities for me was even worse because it was why me? And it made me close up even more.
Have you heard back from the bullies? Have you heard back from anyone who
Yes, I
perhaps...
have. Many, many years later. I've had a few, not many. The special thing that they told me was that I would take it. I would just take it. I was like severely beat down and I would just take it. And I remember telling them it's because when you become basically the victim of physical abuse on a daily basis, you believe you deserve it. So part of that was there. So I just took it. And at the end of the day, I just read people and I knew that bullies realistically were there are people that are going and suffering through their own things and just vent on others and on weak people. And in reality, I was quite weak back then. So I was really understanding towards them. And obviously, it meant a lot for me for them to tell me, oh my God, I'm so sorry, after realizing what you've been through and look at how I treated you. And then me saying, I think you went through this and this, and then they've opened up. So again, me being vulnerable, they've been vulnerable, and you end up forgetting and just basically healing because that's the purpose of it. You don't want to dwell on anything. It's a lot that you dwell with, or I dwell with on a daily basis as it is with my abuse. So it's things that you release and let go and you feel much better and you're healed.
For all she went through, for all the lack of support she endured from those around her, I wanted to know, what was it that pushed Lydia to take the step and come out publicly so long after the assaults had taken place?
I have to be really honest. I really wanted to take this to my grave, and it was the day my younger sibling actually disclosed. And ironically, it's what happens to us. For others, you are willing to fight, but not for yourself. So that was my case. I became protective. She is basically my younger sibling. I protected her with my life. And for her, I was willing to do it. So I understood that I had to disclose in order for her to be believed. She was much younger than me at the time. So that's when it all started, really. And I thank her to this day because realistically, because of her, I was able to release my own inner demons.
It wasn't a smooth process?
It was not.
Tell me what you met with when you disclosed this to friends, family, and eventually the police.
Well, the first thing was, unfortunately, my younger sibling was still in the care of Mario Cassano, and basically they retired, and me, my sister, and my brother were given to them as a retirement sort of thing. So we lived with them in a government home. So she had to go back. She disclosed, but I had to, that was the hardest thing for me. I had to let her go back because we are under social care, etc. I was an adult then, but I couldn't do anything. So we coerced this little plan. You just say you're staying with your best friend on a sleepover, come to my house. And then what we did is we approached social services. Automatically, social services did not believe me. They wanted to send her back to where she came from, basically, to the abuser. And I actually had to get a bit violent and refuse her to go, which I managed. After a long time in social services, the RGP were contacted. And then that's where basically most of my environment heard about my abuses when I disclosed to the RGP, after I disclosed to the RGP.
What was the process like after speaking to the RGP?
I honestly must say, I also want to say, I did have a negative experience, but in that negative experience, there's always one person that shines through. And I do have to shine the light on that person too, because she made me very comfortable and she knows who she is. But the first time I disclosed, I really did hear comments on the lines of, "Foof, how are we going to sweep this under the carpet? This is too much." And I was still in the room trying to disclose by police officers. I wasn't offered psychological help whatsoever, so I had to find the strength within me. And I do believe, like, when I was young and realizing the situations I was in the home, even at the younger tender age of 6, when I realized, and a part of me died, that I was alone. There was no one to help me. I just had to stick through it till I was 18. Knowing that I was all by myself, I think that sort of trained me in a way of being able to cope with that moment, because it was something I was used to. I was shocked, but it wasn't something new to me.
Your conviction comes in The sentence comes in, he goes to prison. What do you feel after that?
So powerful. It's like you can take on the world. You feel so powerful, and for being such an ignored person, and I did have a lot of abandonment issues, feeling worthless. And obviously in that moment you tap into and you say, I did this, I was a part of this, it was me. And you actually believe it because you see. And I don't know why I latched onto, obviously there was a jury, I latched onto these youngsters, which I even felt bad for when they were like literally 18 or 19. I thought, oh my God, poor things, what they have to listen to. But actually their emotions and the jury's empathy. And for me, one major thing was as well, my abuser was quite degrading towards women. Women were nothing, really. So for me, having a woman judge dictating his sentence was basically, for me, another source of justice as well. You could see it in his face. He wasn't happy about that. And obviously, I do have to say, your feeling of worthlessness comes to the point until those guilty words come out from his mouth, because I still believed, mentioning my name and each charge as I went through, that he was not going to say it, because he was so defiant, and I was still that little scared girl beside him. So when he said guilty, that is when I became so powerful. And as I said, it's like, I did this. You can't even believe it. People who go through this, you feel so alone. And for me, obviously, telling you my experience, I felt so ignored, and my voice and no one really understands what that causes you and the inner demons it causes you. I mean, I have been suicidal at times, just feeling the solitude of it all. So at the end of the day, if I can be that person for someone else, that's why, as Karim says, he's blessed to have met me, I'm blessed to have met him. Many years have gone by and I am still healing. That's something that's never going to go away. I might be better, I might become a more empowered person, but I still have my moments, and it's okay, I'm not perfect. And I look at little Lydia. I actually have this little photo on my kitchen bar, which I use as inspiration. I couldn't even look at that photo years back. And now it's sort of my inspiration every day. I look at it and I say, you did this, you've got this. And that's sort of like what I want to do for others out there. If I can help in any way with my experience, again, I say I'm not a psychologist, but just sharing our pain is major, because as you say, being a psychologist, they can give you the tools. But having gone through what I've gone through, and when someone just speaks it, it's just this secret hidden connection that you gain with that person. It's just the looks, it's just something you know that person has gone through it, and then the barriers of guilt and shame and the labels, all that disappears. So if I can do that, it's helping me healing, and I wish I could help just one person is enough. And to tell them again, you are beautiful, you're amazing, you're worthy, your voice is worthy to be heard, and do not hide in shame. Do not hide, because you have no fault in what happened to you, no fault whatsoever. My God.
After the break, Lydia and Karim look back at what united them, explore the reality of living with trauma, and discuss speaking out as part of their own healing process. In late 2021, Karim was aiding the RGP with its investigation into Graham Southwell's crimes. He was struggling under the weight of opening up for the first time, when he received a phone call from someone who understood him, someone who would help ease the burden.
I was speaking with a family member that has gone through the same process that I have gone through. And through her, I had an anonymous phone call, and I picked up, and it was Lydia. And she was explaining to me that she was also a victim, and that she wanted to meet up with me to help me get through this, and to help me, advise me on what road to take. And I sat down with my mother, with Geraldine, and we sat down in the
Little Rock, I think it was, yeah.
And we sat down there, had a coffee, and speaking about what happened to her, what happened to me, and we just instantly connected. For me, she's one of my best friends now, and we just instantly connected because we've gone through the same dark place, and how we are now, it's incredible. It's incredible to see both of us standing, both of us here, trying to help others and helping each other. So I'm lucky to have met Lydia in the Little Rock that day.
I had woken up with a bad PTSD attack. I suffer from chronic PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. So I wake up in panic, in sweat. It's like I'm there again. As a young child, I need to remind myself it's okay. You're here, you're grown up, you're fine, you're safe. And I didn't actually want to go and see his family member. And I actually spoke to my friend who went through the same thing as me, and she actually empowered me. So again, people that go through the same thing, it's like you're gonna be like this every day. This person needs you, get up and go. It's important. And because I went, I got the privilege of meeting Karim. And obviously what I did tell you was, and I have to say, like everyone that knows me, I hate hugs because of what I've been through. It's like people hug me and I become stiff and very uncomfortable. And that's the first thing I offered him. My greatest vulnerability was what I knew was going to basically connect us. So I just told him, get over here in case you don't know me. I've been through the same thing. I've been through the same dark moments. I'm just going to give you a big hug and let's talk. And that's basically what we need, someone that listens to us.
What do you feel when you look back at what happens?
I feel blessed it happened to me and not to some other person that might not be coping the way I have been coping, might not have the family the way I have my family, and they could have gone down the dark route instead of going through to the light. So I'm actually blessed that it happened to me and not to my family members or to my cousins, my sisters, friends. So I'm actually blessed, to be honest.
That's your protective side as well. That's what comes out from being abused as well. For me, basically, I've been through so many stages. In the beginning, it was a sense of you disassociate and you run away from it. And then you realize, wait, it's always there, so I'm going to fight it right now. But when you fight it, I see myself as sort of like digging a hole. And like you can't see the end of it because it's still there and it's still there. And you think it's never going to end. And then I don't know what happens. I don't know how to say it. It just does. It gets better. And I look up at that hole and I see, even though it's small quantities, a few hands, a few helping hands, a few shared stories, and then you can see there's a light. And it's something that you accept you're going to have within you. It's hard. You're going to have to go through the process. But it's not the end of you. It's not the end of you, and you can't let the abuser win. At the end of the day, that's been my motivation. He's not going to take my life away. He took my childhood, but the rest of my life, I dictate what happens to me.
In both cases, I think we've heard that you weren't alone in being victims. And it's, I think it resonates quite strongly that you said this, that you're glad it happened to you. We've got the strength to get through it and not to others, because we know there are others. And we know that there are others that are not dealing with it. You two have shown unbelievable strength to get to where you are today and to get through. And the whole process takes the sort of strength which not everyone has. There are crimes that have been committed and there are things that have happened which have not led through to the justice and to the resolution that you two have.
I understand that not many people are willing to open up, and it's understandable. But that is why I think we are here. I can help the most that we can with our story, with our experiences. We're not psychologists, which is much needed in Gibraltar as well. But at the same time, with our experience, as I did with Karim, it managed to open up a side of us that you don't feel you're believed. So I believe all of you, even though, and I can say it out loud, I believe you, I've been through it, your voice is valid, and basically you're loved. That's all I want to say, because they are sort of the forgotten ones within society.
While Lydia and Karim strongly encourage anyone who has been affected by abuse to come forward, they're both realistic about the challenge and difficulties inherent in facing your trauma.
Your mind is very powerful and it blocks everything out. It protects you. It's made to do that. But your body so remembers. It remembers everything. So a simple taste, a simple smell, a word, a negative thought, anything really can trigger you into, for you having a bad day or a bad moment, and people don't even realize that we tend to hide that.
And it's not a gradual thing. It goes from 0 to 100 like that, and you're happy, and then poof, on the next moment you're crying, you're down, you feel down.
Have you got a memory of a specific moment that something happened that sort of sent you off from 0 to 100?
I can honestly say every single day I come across something that triggers me. I have to emphasize I came from a care home. So he was sort of the head of the home. Simple things as, for example, when I became a mother and had to do simple chores, like I remembered I used to be treated like Cinderella. So I was straight, I don't know if you know the setup of where Edmund Rice home was, but just opposite beside where the old Sacred Heart School was. So literally I was a prisoner in my own little bubble. Outside of school, it was straight up the stairs and onto the home. I didn't have any freedom at all. I was very secluded. One of the horrendous things he did was punish us with belts and be lashed with belts. So simple going shopping with my friends and seeing belts hanging, that would make me have like a little panic attack, and just my friends wouldn't understand because it was at the stage I didn't disclose anything, so people wouldn't understand why you behave that. I mean, I've been considered bipolar at times, which I understand. And I understand completely, because you go from like I'm considered so bubbly and so happy, and no one really like expects me going through what I went through because of my character now. But a simple belt hanging on a shop has created that, like, it triggers you back to that memory. And I actually can say I see that like a flashback, like a movie in that moment, and I can see my little self being slashed with that belt, and it creates that, like, obviously pain, and I don't even know how to explain it. It's so hard. It's so hard. You have to go through all the emotions. Once again, it's like reliving it over and over again, like a recorded movie.
And we relive everything in our own minds.
Yeah, that's the worst part.
So you can't explain it to someone how you're feeling at the moment. It's just going through your head, and it's a really hard moment when you go through those dark phases. For me, it was when it was years before I came out, and I heard the ambulance once. So I went obviously up the rock. You know, I was just staring at the views, and my grandfather called me. That was for me the moments that I turned around my life, I think, in a sort of way, if you know what I mean. And when I had a coffee with my late grandfather, Charles. And I think from then on, my life turned around. But those triggers, they go from 0 to 100, and you get really bad memories, and you end up in a dark place, and you just have to let go of it.
You've both been forced to learn to repress things from a very young age.
Yeah.
You've both learned to have to push things down instead of dealing with them. At this age, years later, what coping mechanisms do you have, or what do you do when you have bad moments, when you have bad days, to get through them?
I have my family. That's the best thing that anyone could have. And I'm one of the lucky ones. I got a really good, loving family. And they supported me since day one, never had a doubt whatsoever. They're helping me with everything. They come over to my house, they call me every day, messages, ask my friends to take care of me, ask my work colleagues to see how I am at work. And just having a loving family, it's all you need to cope. And it's like one of those things that a man is floating in the sea, and he asks God, please help me. And a boat comes along and he says, no thank you, I've asked God to help me. Helicopter comes along, no thanks, I've asked God to help me. And then eventually he died. And when he got up to heaven and saw God, he says, God, I've been asking for help. And he says, yes, I've sent you this, and that. Well, he did that for me. He sent me my partner, Chelsea. He sent me my kids, my family that I've got, my friends, Lydia. I've got everything I need.
And Lydia, on bad days?
My daughters help in a way, because my main purpose with them is breaking the chain, cutting the chain of abuse, and like I have generational abuse. So my mother's been abused, my granny was abused. So for me, I'm very proud to say that it stopped with my daughters. It could have carried on. If I didn't disclose, they would have been, and I can say his name, Mario Cassano, who was my abuser, basically they would have been the next victims, because it was still been in my life. Obviously now I can say that I've got less people in my life, and because with years and everything, you realize I am quite a caring nature and I do like to help out, but sometimes I've had to create boundaries because people take advantage of that. So I'm in a place right now where I realize that you don't need so much people, as in surrounding by people, but the good-natured people that are there, and you realize you tend to, being abused, you tend to also read. I read people, I analyze, I'm aware of my surroundings. That's been a thing instilled in me as a young child. And I must say, honestly say, I have two best friends since we were in nappies. I do share a group with them in WhatsApp. And for me, every time I have a bad day or moment, I am so blessed to have them, because with them, knowing them so young, I can totally be myself, comfortable, no masks on. If I need to cry and have those crazy moments we have, they totally understand because I'm so open with it now. And when I was from 2 years back, I have a new partner, which obviously has been really supportive for me. I've obviously had many trust issues with men. It's been very difficult, but at the end of the day, having someone, which I'm not used to, I've had people, you get used to people mistreating you because you put yourself worth, you feel you're not worthy. And for me, having a person that does see that in me, even though you don't see it yourself, it helps you. People understanding you and supporting you is what keeps us going, really. And that's why I think we're here, because anyone that's suffering from this, and I understand it's difficult, but to know that communication is community for me. Exactly. It's like once you open up and you're vulnerable, we are a community. It's just we're a hidden one because of the stigma.
For all the care they may have had from family and friends, I wanted to know what support Karim and Lydia had received from mental health professionals.
I did go to the GHA. I asked for help because I was in a dark place and I had dark thoughts. I explained it to the GHA, and still till today I'm waiting for them to give me a ring to see a counsellor. On the other side, I had Sergeant Joe Alja, I believe, who was head detective of my case, and she actually offered me the police counsellor to see me, to help me. But I was helping myself. I get emotional when I say it, but my counsellor has been Stephen Jones, aka Bomb. He's been my counsellor, and I love him to bits. He's been a really big part of why I'm here, the strength I have, the courage I have, and I just want to thank him for doing everything he did during those years for me, and he still does till today. So I just want to thank him, my partner, and all my family. But the GHA, like we said, I've been waiting for more than 5-6 years since we started the case till now, and I still haven't had a phone call or anything from them. I went to see them, they gave me tablets for depression and tablets to sleep, which went really bad with me, and luckily my partner, she loves me to bits. She threw them away and are a lot better.
Best thing ever.
Yes.
Lydia also spoke of the difficulties she had experienced trying to access care through the GHA.
What happened to me was I went through the whole court case, everything without psychological support whatsoever. And what happened is what happened. I broke down. I was quite suicidal. I know what you mean with dark thoughts. I literally spent a week in bed giving up on myself. When they say you can feel your body leaving this world, that is what I was feeling. And people don't understand, because all the comments I got were, what about your daughters? What about this? What about that? But in that moment, you don't think about anything. It's just this tremendous pain you have within, and this thing that you have to go through all by yourself and internalize it. And it's so hard. And literally, I didn't even have a shower in a week. I didn't eat. It was literally giving up on myself. And in that moment was when she's become quite a big friend of mine, a care worker working one of them. That's why I always say there's always one person that's good. There's always a silver lining somewhere. And she actually believed me. She knew a private forensic psychologist in Spain, and when approached by my family members, obviously telling her the state I was, she gave me that facility of being able to see her. And this psychologist, I must say, she changed my life. Like literally, she knew my financial problems. I've always been like trying to survive coming out from the home and building a life. And in that moment, I wasn't financially set. I mean, private psychologist, I think it costs like 80 euros an hour, which for some might be nothing, but for me was the whole world. So she did give me that advantage of not having to pay for it, because she saw the necessity of it. And obviously I had to fight to be able to see her ongoing. So she was the one that changed my life. But obviously GHA, I approached them, and as I say, and I understand with Karim, I've seen the repercussions of medications. That's why I've refused them entirely. Here the problem is they don't want to see the root of your problem. They just want to like have this and just fly away. Literally, this is not my problem right now. Because unfortunately, and I have to say, it's been told to me, we have no one trained or basically professional enough to deal with what I've been through. So basically, and I've approached the GHA, you wait up to 6 to 8 weeks for an appointment. I might be suicidal at the beginning of when I've approached, but you need to wait 6 weeks and be strong enough. And you have to have the person, la povera or povera of the counter, to tell me, I'm sorry, but unfortunately, you can see it in the faces. It's like, I wish I could give you more, but I can't. And it's like, you have to find your own strength. You have to, because at the end of the day, it's very sad because, again, it's what we feel as children. You're alone. You are totally alone. So there's nothing in place at the moment. And I think that's something that we really need. I think that is something that us victims also know. I think it's a stigma going around the mental well-being and the system that everyone knows. It's something that's known. So that keeps a lot of people from speaking as well. Because the aftercare is not there at all, unfortunately.
And it's detrimental because every hour, every day, every second, every minute, all counts to that person. Yeah. Because in a matter of seconds, you could change your mind, you go in a dark place and you're gone.
I have an experience actually. Not so long ago, I had a week that I was in a very dark place again. I actually had my PTSD moments, and in a family group, I actually placed, I'm like this, I'm calling the GHA. They're telling me, they told me, oh, we have a psychologist you can see, but let me see when they're available. And I just laughed. I was like, okay, let me see. Let's be hopeful. Let's be positive. Lydia, 6 months. And for me, it was like, I knew it was coming, but I just had that, and it really shocks me that we still have that hope, and that even though we come through what we come through, where we basically like feel everything's going to go wrong anyways, and we have that hope, and it's like, oh my God, 6 months. You can be 20, 15, 90, 100, you're still dealing with a hurt child and the repercussions of that. And even though we're adults, I still become that child at times. It really maddens me because the courage it takes for you to come out and actually say it, and then you're totally blocked. I mean, we have that character that we carry on, but there's many people that don't. So it's discouraging them once again, and it's not fair on them at all.
At all. Like every minute, every second counts with people that go through what we go through. Mm-hmm. It just takes seconds to go, basically. So we need something in place in Gibraltar and the GHA to help other victims, to help other people, to have those counsellors available 24/7 whenever we need it, and we don't, unfortunately, here in Gibraltar.
The pathway to justice was not straightforward, and their ongoing journey to healing, turbulent and unpredictable. Neither Lydia nor Karim are trying to hide any of this, and while they tell me the benefits of speaking out are undoubtedly worth the effort, the price has been high. The first step can be the most difficult, as both of them found, not least because of who they were speaking out against. But this is often the case when accusing an abuser. Mario Cassano was a carer and foster parent. He ran a children's home. Graham Southwell was an ambulance volunteer, a security guard in his estate. These were trusted, upstanding members of society. It wasn't even just that they weren't known to have done anything wrong. It's that they were popular, they were well known, they were well integrated in society, and predators of the worst kind who had put themselves in a position to be able to come close to children. Yeah. Lydia, you've said that you had the difficulty of not being believed to begin with.
Since the beginning. Yeah. Since the beginning. And I do must say this because it's the honest truth. I was willing to take this to my grave. Like as I said before, your mind does wonders to protect your heart. And what happened in my case is I placed it all in a box of Pandora, in my little box up in my mind. The first time I said it out loud was to my younger sibling. And the sense of relief, you can't even imagine that. Just getting it out there out loud because, as you say, respected members of society, this is your secret. I was made to basically not have a hair out of place, make everyone believe everything was perfect because they did have the care agency and everything behind what they had to look into. So we came last. It was like the facade. But I do have to say, because of his way of manipulating people within the community, I did have quite a massive backlash. I've been told things like, you shouldn't say anything, if he did what he did, at least you're, te lo voy a decir in Spanish, era una niña del home and at least you had un plato de comida para comer, things like that. And you have to take it in. I've been spat at by friends of his, which are also respected members of the community. You lying piece of blah, blah, blah. It's been horrible. It's been horrible. And I understand now, because obviously now you are in a small community, and maybe like back then as well, 2000 and something, 2007, maybe when this all came out, it wasn't so much as an open thing. And speaking, now I understand, because speaking to older people in a community, they do say, and it's so normal to them, which is scary. I went through the same thing. My uncle did the same, but it's been kept in the family. That's what we did. I want to believe, listening to Karim's story, that things have changed in that respect. And you can't see it statistically wise, you can't see more people opening up. I believe the abuse has always been there. It's just I think that people are more courageous to come out, which is, my little child smiles inside when I see those things happening, because it is sort of like something moving forward and something being positive.
This is an opportunity to help others know that we're not afraid. We've come forward, we've got courage. The people in Gibraltar, they do come together at the end and help you go through it, and that we feel a lot better after the verdict and after the predator goes up. So I think this is a positive thing, that we go forward from here to help other victims and any other vulnerable children to come forward, to speak, to talk to someone. There's no shame in speaking, there's no shame in what's happened on your past. I'm Karim Gonzalez, I am Master X from the Southwell trial. And I'm blessed to be here, I'm blessed having Lydia next to me, I'm blessed having you. I'm just blessed for just being me.
I think both me and Karim share the same purpose, really. It's when you go through what you go through, you want to protect, you can turn one way or you can spend the rest of your life trying to protect others, and I think that's the seat we're sitting on right now. I'm also witness X in Mario Cassano's case. There's no shame in that. You do go through that shame, but I think that being here is very empowering. Once the guilty verdict is out, I think we totally transform, because our voices are heard, we are strong, we are powerful, and you tap into that which has always been there. It's always been there, but it's something that really makes you tap into it. If I was ashamed of my scars beforehand, I am now here sitting down wearing them with pride, because I consider myself a warrior every single day. And there are many warriors out there. They're just not, or they haven't been heard or haven't had the support. And as Karim as well, I give my support and my helping hand and wholeheartedly to anyone who really wants to speak and they don't feel comfortable, if they feel comfortable with either me and Karim. And as well, I feel blessed to have you here, because obviously meeting you has empowered me so much, even more than what you know. Even though it's been longer than you, I am still healing. And every single person that I help to heal heals my little Lydia. People heal at their own time. I need to have the patience to know that. But maybe us standing here today and speaking out gives them that sort of light and that fire to be able to do it. And again, I can't say it enough. Communication is community. We're a community, we're one. As we say, we met, we are one, we share the same thing. So you're not alone. That's all we really want to do.
And like I mentioned to you when I walked out that courtroom, God will put you back together in front of those who broke you.
Totally true.
Here we are.
Totally true.
Here we are.
In next week's episode, Detective Sergeants Mary De Santos and Sergeant Joe Alger provide valuable insights into the RGP's fight against child abuse, as they share their motivations and the toll this work takes. Karim and Lydia take the opportunity to reflect on their own experiences with the officers, as they all share a joint message to the public. You are not alone. There is help out there for you. Viewpoint, next Thursday at 9 p.m. If you've been affected by child abuse, there is help out there for you. Contact the RGP. You can reach out directly to their safeguarding team. If you're under 18, you can contact Childline. If you need someone to talk to, you can call Jibsams.